Welcome to Proving Grounds. We take the best cars we can find and throw them on our obstacle course to find out which is the fastest. But there's a twist. There are speed bumps to slow the sports cars, a wet corner to thwart the SUVs, and an off-road shortcut for the 4x4s. There's fake deer, a real parallel parking challenge, and it's all happening in the middle of the desert. Which vehicle will set the best time? Watch and find out.
Today on illicitly colorful proving grounds, we've got the Civic Type-R, Chrysler Pacifica Hybrid, and a Porsche 911 GT3. We're going to review all those cars, but first, sports car champion Lee Keen is going to tackle the proving grounds in a police car.
They trusted us with a police car?
Look at that, off to get the donuts.
And in full cop mode there for Lee. He's heading down into the first corner after the acceleration test where he's going to have to get hard on the brakes.
Just chucking it in there, coming up on the speed bumps.
Right, and he's not going to slow down at all with this cop car. It's got enough ground clearance to get over those easy.
Cops don't slow down for anything.
Now into Cardboard Alley here.
Oh, hard on the brakes, pinning it on the nose. Oh, he just barely missed a deer.
Sergeant Keene laying down the authority on the racetrack.
Now heading to the parallel parking. He's going to do something that no cop has ever done. That's park.
Column shift helping him out here. It's pretty quick. He's backing up in it. Oh, he's looking around.
Oh!
Oh, hit the boxes. Probably can't see because of that great big bar in the back. Coming into the great big fast left-hander. Looks really composed. Yeah, I just don't think it's going to be that quick.
Into the wet corner. Oh, and it just doesn't hold the grip there and goes off. Now he won't use the dirty shortcut. He'll continue around the big corner here.
He stayed in it, though, because he's a race driver. You never get out of it.
I'd like to report a massive push in turn 7.
And push is another word for understeer, where the front tires are not gripping and therefore the car will not turn.
A useful fact no one will ever hear because that radio isn't connected to anything right as he goes into Goodwood.
Made it through there with no issues.
Coming up and over the hill.
I knew being a cop would be awesome, but I didn't know it would be this good.
Good backup career for any race car driver.
Final stretch to the donuts.
And across the finish line.
You boys understand it's illegal to stand right in the middle of the road?
That was a 144, sir.
That's pretty good with a donut stop. It actually makes a lot of grip. Four-wheel drive kind of does its job when it needs to, and the whole time you're a cop, so you can pretty much do whatever you want.
Which I noticed you used a little extra track there.
Yeah,
Maybe
but I didn't lift, so I
Didn't
didn't
lift.
lose any time.
Perfect.
How'd it go through the parking?
Yeah.
Cops kind of park wherever they want.
Yeah, usually we don't have to parallel park. We just park in the middle of the street, so.
Boys down at the station are right proud of you there, officer. It's fine. Don't worry.
Good.
Great job. Now, if you excuse me, I'm off to drive an understated luxury car.
For most people, a Honda is a car their aunt drives. They're safe, they're reliable, they maybe don't even impress you with their style or performance, but instead offer a restrained, possibly even dignified experience for a fair price. The Civic Type-R is not that kind of Honda. A friend of mine in high school had a Civic SI, and that car was fun because it produced a ton of noise and drama without going very fast because it didn't have a lot of power. On the contrary, this Civic Type-R may lack a bit of noise, a bit of drama, but it makes up for it in the speed category. This car is very boy racer. I mean, this thing has vents in places that other cars don't even have places. And as a NASCAR driver, I know two things. All the worst places in Charlotte to take a date, and aerodynamics. Why does the Honda Civic Type-R look so crazy? Well, it's all about aerodynamics, and it starts up front with this big splitter off the front end and all these vents you see here. And then it continues along the side. Behind the front tire here, you have a vent that releases air that channels all the way along the car until it gets back to this massive rear wing. And then above that, you have some winglets coming off the roof, all in an effort to produce downforce. The Honda Civic Type-R is a hatchback that has 310 horsepower produced from an inline turbo Ford. And that 310 horsepower comes through the front tires, which would normally be a recipe for disaster. But Honda has worked much witchcraft in the front diff and found a way that at many times you feel like the front tires, where they would normally be giving out on a front-wheel drive car, are actually continuing to grip. And as you apply throttle towards the exit of a corner, you still have the grip to get into full throttle and make the car turn at the same time. This is probably one of the best handling front-wheel drive cars ever made. And as a testament to that, it's actually the fastest front-wheel drive car to ever lap the Nürburgring. The thing is, the looks are intense. Although that may be a bit of an understatement, I love that a car like this exists, but I would struggle to buy it because I'm not prepared to make this kind of statement. Much like I'm not prepared to go and get tattoos and wear flat bill hats and drink craft beers all the time. And if you're into that kind of thing, this might be the car for you.
Definitely front-wheel drive. Yeah, I'm seeing all red. Got the red mist. Oh.
Welcome back to Proving Grounds. I've still got a 911 GT3 to drive, and Sam has to drive a minivan. But first,
Wait, you're driving the Porsche and I'm driving a minivan. How does that work?
some of us are born winners. And others are Lee Keen, who's here to put the Civic Type-R through its paces.
It's red as hell, man.
It is really red.
Extremely red.
It's got red stitching, red bits on the rims.
Red.
Everything's red.
Red.
We'll see if any of this aerodynamics actually make it faster around this track.
I doubt it will.
Nah, I as well. I'm with you.
All right, ready? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go!
Go!
Whoa! VTEC and the turbo just kicked in.
VTEC, so much VTEC, so much wings, so much fenders, so much everything.
That's all Honda fans know when the magic happens.
Sharp on the nose. Stiff through the speed bumps. Holy cow, doesn't take those well.
That's going to lose it a lot of time. Cardboard Alley is going to test this front-wheel drive car's ability to change direction.
Definitely front-wheel drive. Oh yeah, nice and sharp on the nose. Those deer were nothing.
And now into parallel parking.
It is a Civic, so it should be able to parallel park pretty easy.
And a manual. How's that for novel? A lever that lets you change gear?
Yeah, it does.
Gets the power down pretty well out of the parallel parking challenge. Now heads into a long left-hander towards the wet corner.
I need special goggles to see inside this thing. Is so red. Woo.
Front-wheel drive car had a bit of understeer through the wet. Not surprising.
Check that out, Parker, though. That was wet.
Oh!
Oh, a little loose.
Wow!
But cars can drive through the wet, too.
And heading now down into Goodwood
A
chicane.
little pushy. Sharp on the nose, but in the corner it gets pushy. Let's see how it does through Goodwood.
Down through the gears. Good pivot.
Good test of the brakes.
Up on the curb.
Yeah, I'm seeing all red. Got the red mist.
And
Oh,
this final corner is going to test the ability to get the throttle down and turn at the same time, which is what this car's party piece is for being front-wheel drive.
here we go. VTEC and the turbo working together, making as much horsepower as they can.
And over the finish line.
Watch out, it's hot. It's red.
It's red.
It's red hot right there.
Yeah, you could say that, I guess. The front tires were red hot.
Oh, yeah? Well, you did it in a minute 45.
That's pretty good. I lost a lot of time in the speed bumps. This car does not like bumps. Holy cow, it doesn't take those well.
How'd it feel in the wet?
It was good and stable. You know, a little bit of a push, but didn't do anything crazy, and I stayed on the racetrack, which was good.
Nice. And now you get to go drive a minivan.
And maybe if you're lucky when you're a little bit older, I'll get to go pass it down to you.
While some of us, like Parker, Our children, those of us who have children, look for more in a car than a flashy paint job and a loud exhaust. Which means we often end up giving our money to Chrysler. The funny thing about Chrysler is that they make one of the most practical cars in America, this thing, and the least, the 700 horsepower Dodge Hellcat. Both of them are pretty good at their jobs. And ultimately, with a minivan, what you want it to do is just get out of the way and be quietly competent, carry your kids around, nobody spills their yogurt. So Chrysler literally invented the minivan. Back about 30 years ago, these things didn't exist. And theirs has traditionally been the most popular in the business. And one of the things they invented is this. One strap, and the rear seats are up. They fold into the back. The other thing, these seats used to be in the back and in the middle. Now, on this car, they're only in the back. Middle ones can't fold down into the floor because there's a battery pack there. And there's a battery pack there because it's a hybrid. When you look at this thing, you'd think, okay, it's a hybrid, there's a battery pack, it's just a giant Prius with a bunch of seats, right? And it is. Chrysler figured that most people don't want to screw around with eco modes or power buttons or things like that, so it just drives like a normal minivan. This thing will go 30 miles on electric only, and after that, it gets 32 miles to the gallon. You'd think you'd pay for that, and you do. Before the government's tax credit, it's more than $40,000 a minivan. Put any options on it, it starts to stack up real quick. But in the end, you have relatively practical, relatively entertaining to drive, pretty efficient people mover, and you can do silly things with it, like hammer over curbs, like this. It's almost worth having kids for.
You can do what you want when you drive a minivan. Not exactly gonna spin out in this one.
Welcome back to Proving Grounds. Later, this lucky jerk gets to drive a Porsche. But first, Lee Keen's gonna drive a minivan in a way that would get you kicked out of the PTA.
All right, here we go. Ready?
Yeah.
All right, Lee. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go!
Oh, I don't know what happened to my career when I'm in a minivan.
No, that just means you did everything right.
Come to the Proving Grounds. Test drive cars for us. They didn't say anything about a minivan.
Yeah, we did.
Oh, gosh.
Hey, over the speed bumps! Wow!
It's the fastest we've ever seen a car through there. It's pretty composed.
And that will not be the case as we head here into the cardboard alley.
Oh.
It's making a lot of groaning, grunting, straining.
You guys all right back there? Being mighty quiet.
Help, Dad! I just puked on my sister! I think he's now gone senile and is imagining kids in the back.
Oh, no, they're there. Touch the boxes a little.
I'll leave a note on their windshield.
That's a good, polite mom move
That's
right
a
there.
nice move, Lee.
Not a whole lot of acceleration from this one.
He's out for a Sunday drive, man. This is great. This is the most relaxed lap we've ever had.
Charlie, quit hitting your sister.
No, I don't want to!
Maybe quit hitting Charlie.
He's annoying me! He's got weird feet! All right, Sam. Over under 2 minutes here for the minivan.
Minutes and not weeks?
Not exactly gonna spin out in this one.
Good point.
Months?
Maybe months. Years?
I think this is the quietest we've ever heard him during a lap. He's looking at the gauges, he's checking his mirrors, he's making sure everything's cool.
Oh,
We're right onto the curbs.
Pulling off the course.
Coming up on the Goodwood chicane, what's he gonna do through here? What do
I
you
don't think he'll make it.
No? Yes? No? Oh! Oh!
If I had any kids in the back, they definitely would have thrown up by now.
Well, you know, this is getting exciting.
I'm impressed. Those brakes are being asked to do something they've never been asked their entire life. It is moving, I promise.
Pretty sure we're gonna make it to soccer practice on time.
Don't bet on that.
I'm not sure. This has been a very long lap. And over the finish line eventually.
Fastest?
154.
Oh.
But the kids puked, right?
Yeah, there's a big mess back there. So yes, very good over the speed bumps. That's where it excelled because I didn't brake or do anything. And everywhere else it pushed and felt like a big marshmallow. It's a minivan.
This is all great, guys. I love you, but I got a Porsche to drive. The Porsche 911 is one of the most iconic sports cars of all time, but it's also one of the most misunderstood. Some people hear 911 and think luxury convertible for rich dentists. Others think turbo supercar for speed freaks. If you're not really sure what a 911 is supposed to be, I don't blame you. I blame Porsche, which sells 24 distinct variations of the 911 in the United States alone. Hard tops, soft tops, target tops, all-wheel drive, rear-wheel drive. There are almost too many choices, and all of them great ones. So how do you choose? Easy. The best 911 you can buy is the most 911 you can afford. And if you have $150,000 lying around, then you can get a 911 GT3. The thing is, they make faster 911s, they make more luxurious 911s, but the GT3 is the raw and unfiltered 911. Many auto journalists out there will tell you that this GT3 falls in the lineage of many of its predecessors, the 911 line, in terms of how it handles in the corners, that it's gonna try and bite you. It's gonna try and take that rear end and flip it around and put you backwards into a wall. And I'm here to tell you, they could not be more wrong. Even in PDK Sport Mode and all the traction control and ESC off, this car loves to slide. It loves to be on the limit, and it encourages you to. It likes to play with you, and not in a menacing way. It's a playful way. It just loves to dance on the X of the corners. And it's one of those few cars that you have that really feels like an extension of your body, that every movement you do, you're in connection with the car. How do you not love the sound of this engine as it goes towards this 9,000 RPM red line? The noise is absolutely intoxicating. And I can tell you, as an owner of a 911, I am a bit of a Porsche fanboy, but that doesn't sway me to feel like that's the reason I love this car. This is just one of those few cars that really makes you love the act of driving. The brakes are incredible, the way it turns in, the slides you can do on the exits and the corners, be completely in control. There's never a time I feel like when it's starting to get away that it's just gonna suddenly change its mind and do something different. It's always in control, in my hands, even as I drive completely over my head. There's a question I keep asking myself, which is, would I give up everything for this car? And honestly, that's a tough question. It's that good. There's so many things it does so well, and it's just so much fun. I love it.
We've got a 911, we've got Lee Keen. It's time to play America's favorite game, Can You Drift It? And I just became a man.
That's awesome. Holy cow. Come on, baby.
Welcome back to Proving Grounds. It's the moment we've all been waiting for. The 911 GT3 is going to try and climb to the peak of Mount Proving Grounds.
Not Proving Grounds. I like that.
Sam, I've only thought about two things since driving this car.
Food?
The 911 GT3 and how I can sell everything to buy one.
And neither one of those is food.
No, neither of those food. I think this could possibly be the fastest car we've ever seen.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. It's so good!
That's a start.
It's so good!
Yep, that's awesome.
9,000 RPM, man.
And launch control heading towards the speed bumps, coming almost to a complete stop.
It's designed to hurt cars like this, that section of the track.
And now heading into Cardboard Alley.
Pretty composed, tidy on the brakes. He's gonna miss the deer.
Oh, it's like a fine ballet.
Do you even... Have you seen a ballet?
Well, I think that's what ballet is like.
Figures. Looking past the wing, parallel parking it. Remember in practice, he took a mirror off the car, didn't he?
He did, and it was on the exit, so...
It's still there!
Second time's the better.
I'm like a really awesome rubber ducky.
I don't get that.
This is the real lead. This is what happens when you put a man in a car he's extremely comfortable in.
Now it makes a bit of sense through the wet corner.
Lots of traction from that rear-mounted engine.
This car is so good.
He's not wrong.
It's telling me everything I want it to, doing everything I want it to do. Nice balance.
This is like watching you turn left. I get bored doing it. He's just so comfortable.
And into Goodwin Chicane. Oh, through Goodwin Chicane. That was awesome.
Just a bit of dirt.
Flat 6 rolling. Oh my God, I love this car.
Huh, you don't say. We haven't noticed.
Of course he does. Just sounds right.
Come on, baby.
And over the finish line. Maybe one of the fastest cars we've seen yet.
It was fast, wasn't it?
134.
Yeah, that's wow. Wow, that's amazing. It is so good.
Did you drift it through the wet section?
Yeah, it was a little sideways.
Yeah?
You can confirm with the video, but I think you'll be happy with it.
All right, rock on.
Does it sound as good in the car as it sounds out of the car?
It does everything you want it to with the pedals, with the steering wheel. The whole time that's going on, you got the noise in your ear. So I mean, it doesn't get any better. It's just incredible.
What did we learn today?
If you're going to run from that Interceptor, don't do it in the minivan. Don't do it in the Type-R. Do it in the Porsche.
Hey Motorsports fans, thanks for watching. Make sure you hit subscribe before you go for all the latest news and highlights across motorsports.